good, everybody? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me just make sure that you guys can actually hear me before we begin. I know you guys can hear the music, but let me just make sure that you guys can actually hear me so we can get started with today's session. Obviously, I want to jump onto the charts and identify what the market is going to have for us. Give me 1 second. Okay, you guys can, in fact, hear me. I can hear it. All right, perfect. So, what's good, everybody? Good morning. Hopefully everybody had an amazing day yesterday. I know today is Tuesday, so being the 3rd of the month, we should actually have some volatility. As you can see here, we'll go to Forex Factory. You can see here there is some just very minor news. The only thing I would really look at is the OPEC and for today's meetings. But besides that, I'm not really looking at anything too significant as far as news is concerned. But the reason why this is important is because this shows that we should be finding some volatility within some of these markets. So there should be some great moves. Actually, there was a move on Gbpjpy USD. I think a lot of you guys are seeing the volatility that had happened with these markets. So we could actually go over GU because this is something that I was looking at yesterday, and one of our traders was able to catch this trade for us last night. I didn't even catch this trade. He was able to catch it for us, so I know exactly why he got in. So we'll actually break this down as the reasoning on why he got in. It's literally the same exact reasoning on why I would have gotten in as well. He probably finessed it and did something even better because his entry was I'm not even joking. His entry was like right here. No cap, like no joke, his entry was like right there. So we'll go over the reasoning on why he was able to catch such a great move. And we'll go over whatever markets, obviously, you guys would like to take a look at and really go from with there. Actually, yesterday, if I'm correct, we were talking about GU. And if I actually deleted the analysis here, but if I'm correct, we were talking about, I'll go and look at yesterday's video, but if I'm correct, we were talking about selling from this area as well when we were on yesterday's live. So we were able to sell from that high, from the range. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys, if you used yesterday's analysis, you guys were able to catch this trade as well, because I'm pretty sure we went over this for sells. But yeah, we'll go over this here in a second, but I do want to take a look at gold, DXY, US30, before we jump into this. We'll leave this for the end as reasoning on why we got in. But good morning, everybody. I am taking a look at the chat, so if there is any questions or any specific markets you guys would like to take a look at, feel free to let me know. By all means, I will make sure that I identify what's relevant and important to you, so that way I make sure that you guys are actually learning and gaining something from these sessions, and you're leaving with some actual knowledge and some actual value. So if there is any questions, feel free to let me know. So let me go over to gold. Actually, we'll go to the DXY first. The reason why we're going to the DXY, and I'll actually move this over, we'll take a look at this real quick, is our currency strength meter, or index rather. It does say meter, but it's going to show us the actual ideas of the strength of each pair, or the pairs in general as an individual. So you can see right now that the US dollar, USD, is extremely strong. So we should be focusing on a lot of buying opportunities with the US dollar. So what we can see here is the DXY. This is something we actually said yesterday too. I said that after the holidays, when the market comes back and we start seeing volatility, it's usually very, I wouldn't say, always happening, but it's a very common theme that after the holidays, obviously with the economy coming back from Christmas and New Year's and people spending a bunch of money, that's going to circulate positively for our economy, and we should be finding some type of bullish notation within the markets. And that's exactly what we were able to get. You can see here, we found this level of structure here. Now I'm on the 1 hour. I know I always preach to you guys about being on the higher time frames, but I'm just showing you this for right now. So we were able to see that the dollar wasn't able to break below those lows, and right now it's not breaking above these highs either. It's just like in this little range here, if you will. So until I see a break above, I wouldn't necessarily say go full in with the dollar. But what I would be looking at is if we could break above, and I'll just draw this out. I almost dropped my Red Bull. My bad, guys. And I love Red Bull, so I apologize. I always have one. it's like a thing for me in the morning, I swear to God. So if level of structure is broken, we should see the dollar skyrocket. Because right now this is, I wouldn't say a key level, because obviously higher time frames are always going to be the more, I would say, significant levels of structure. But what we can see is if this level of structure is broken, we should see the dollar skyrocket. So that means a lot of sells on Euro USD, a lot of sells on GU, as you just saw on that market. And as we actually mark this up a little bit more, I'm pretty sure if I scale out to the higher time frame, we're probably at some significant structure point. Can I draw with this? See, that's not something I really like too much. I don't like just cutting through a market like that, because you can see here there is a base, there is a secondary touch, and then we do have our third touch. But I don't like just cutting through, because those candles did break above, but I'll keep it there. But since we were able to break above that initial trend line too, I mean, that definitely shows us some strong bullish movement. So I do think that the dollar is going to continue to be more along the lines of a buy, which is good, because that gives us a perfect perfect transition into gold. Now, again, I'm just going over some things. If you guys have any questions, again, feel free to let me know. I am taking a look at the chat, so if there's something you specifically need, let me know. If you're confused on something, you don't know what's going on, you need help understanding something, also feel free to let me know. I want to make sure that you guys are actually learning. I think that's really important. I want you guys to ask as many questions as you want. I want you guys to really learn something from these sessions. But what I will be looking at is, since we were able to see that the dollar is gaining value, we should start finding some bearish ideas with gold. So I do think, oh, it didn't reach that high. So I was considering that if it did break above this structure here, that little resistance that I was making, that we would at least reach this area here, which we didn't reach those highs, but that's okay. We do have about, I'm on the daily time frame, so I would like to see how the daily candle closes in order for me to understand the true essence, right? Because the higher time frame, again, is always going to show you the true idea. And right now in the higher time frame, yes, gold did look like it wanted to be bullish. But if we go here, where are my little tools at? There we go. This candle looks exhausted, right? It's leaving a large wick to the upside. What that means is that buyers were trying to get up to these highs, but sellers are forcing it lower, right? The dollar is gaining that initial strength. And if it is gaining that initial strength, we should be starting to look for some potential sells. Now, I'm back on the 1 hour time frame, and we're starting to get some clues that sells are in fact coming about. Now, the reason why I have the arrow over that bearish engulfing candle is because it's exactly that, a bearish engulfing candle. On the higher time frame, on the daily here, it's just a wick, which is great because it's showing that level of rejection. It's showing that exhaustion, that the market is no longer wanting to be bullish. But when we scale down to the 1 hour, we're getting further confirmation, right? And you can do this on any time frame. Obviously, there's going to be more, analysis on other time frames. But right now, with the volatility now coming into the market, we don't really need too many clues. It's already starting to develop and show us, leaving the clues behind already. That bearish engulfing candle is a level of, or showing a level of rejection. With this rejection here, I would start to get the idea that we'll get one of two things. I do think that we'll get a correction back down to this level of, I would say, structure. I know it doesn't look like it because it looks like little Tetris, like game of Tetris right there. But this is considered a level of resistance. We have rejection here, rejection. When it did break above, it also came to test that level of structure as well. So what we can start to do is a few things, actually. If this comes back down to this level of structure, we can identify if it creates a lower high or even meets the high back here and possibly creates, and you can't ever, fortune tell this too much, but this is what the market does. I've seen it happen a million times. I would expect it to happen again. Maybe it'd come back to that level of structure and create a double top, which is another bearish reversal confirmation, right? This is still developing. Again, since this is NFP week, it might not have the greatest volatility up until then, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do come back to this level of structure and it creeps up to this point before NFP and we start to see it sell from there. If not, and it starts to create that lower high, I wouldn't say necessarily go ahead and get in because, if you want to use your fibs, try to calculate that. I would be more on the allow it to break below this structure point and then come back to test this point before I start to look to enter for gold. And this is just, again, it's correlating with the idea that the dollar is gaining value. And if the dollar is in fact going to be more valuable, that means gold is going to be selling. Again, if you guys don't know the reason why, is because the U.S. or the U.S. uses gold as its reserve or national reserve. So anytime that gold is increasing in value, that means the dollar isn't really that valuable, and vice versa. So this is just my idea with gold. I know we were looking at it yesterday. If it didn't break above those highs, we were looking for sells, but it did break above those highs. But we're starting to see with the volatility that's now in the market, I think it's more along the lines of a false break, and we should start looking for some potential sells on this soon. But it looks like you guys are good. So what I'll do is I'll actually go over to Gbpjpy USD because there is an actual trade, a potential re-entry on this. I'll actually break this. I'll take everything off and I'll break this down as to why one of our traders was able to catch this move. So yesterday, I do remember we were talking about Gbpjpy USD. Somebody had asked, what is my idea? What do I think the projection of this market would be? And I was able to say, or I came up with the idea or the thought with the analysis I was given that this market will continue to sell, right? So we'll go over some of those reasons from yesterday, and we'll go over the reasoning on why the entry was made and for why it was profitable at that. I can actually show you here. We are in a minor trade, but this was our trade. I should have put a lot more, but as you see right here, $126, the trade was made. So that means with a 0.10, that was 126 pips. It's probably like 130, but I think there's like the swap and everything as well, and commissions. But yeah, $126 made on that trade. So just to show you transparency, I don't want to just sit back and show you a trade, a make-believe trade that was never really placed. But we'll go over the reasoning on why that was profitable for us right now. So as you see right now, Gbpjpy USD on the higher time frame, we scaled down to a smaller time frame here. You can see that this market from these lows to these highs is a pretty bullish market overall, right? On the higher time frame. If you're able to see that, that's great. But you can also identify some potential, I would say not reversals, but even in this bullish market, there can be some potential sells on the smaller time frame. So the one thing I'm looking at is looking left to get right. Now, looking left to get right on this isn't the best, because if we look left, like if I scale out over here, there's really not structure. There's really not something that's going to give you the strongest idea of, oh, this is going to start to sell from this point. But there are a few characteristics of the market that I am seeing. So if we scale out to the 4-hour, it looks a little bit easier. Even though by doctrine, I personally like when the head and shoulder patterns, when the right shoulder actually meets the price of the left shoulder, but we didn't get that here, right? But it still is in fact a head and shoulders pattern. The left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. So we do have a break of the neckline. And I want to show you how ingenious this is, because you'll see how many times this pattern comes about and why it's important that we understand those ideas as well. So we have the break in the neckline there. So with the break of the neckline, that's showing us that, okay, previous buyers are no longer welcome. Pretty sure if I add, I'm just going to do this for like real quick. I'm pretty sure like if we add other things, I'm pretty sure there's more analysis, but I'm just trying to break down the trade, the right now trade. But overall, we had the idea from yesterday. If you want, you could even take a look at yesterday's video. We broke it down pretty extensively. But overall, we had the idea that this market was bearish. When we scale down to the smaller idea, because yes, overall, we know what the market may end up doing, but we have to know where to potentially get in. So at the time, the market was just in this range. We actually used the 1-hour time frame for this. You can see this initial range here, this being the range high. And you can see, if I just draw it a little bit left, we are meeting some structure. If you guys are new to the sessions, this is the entire zone of the, structure point, but I'm never going to make my zones that big. We're going to cheat a little bit because we know exactly where the market had tested and respected and everything, right? We can cheat because we can see those are the highs. So we want to keep our charts as clean and simple as possible. So at the time, there was no break here. This happened overnight, as you guys saw, right? So we also have the range low here. So what the analysis was, and I'm pretty sure you guys are already kind of catching the drift of the potential re-entry, we needed to allow this market to break below or above this structure point or this range in order for us to get a strong idea, to really know what this market was going to end up doing. So we know the true direction, right? And at the time, it was just ranging in this area. You can even see there was little to no momentum. And the first thing I suggested was, if we can reach these highs, the best thing for us to do is potentially sell. But what our trader did was he basically found the perfect entry based off of a head and shoulders pattern, right? I hope you guys can see it. We'll actually just draw it out here for you guys. You can see left shoulder there. You can see the start of the head there. Now this is weird, this tool. I hate the fact that it doesn't complete until like you line it up there. So I'll actually just draw it out with the arrows. Left shoulder, the head of the pattern, right shoulder, and you can see the top there, right? That is the end of the right shoulder. This is why, for me personally, when I'm looking at a head and shoulders pattern, I personally like to base my entries off of the left shoulder part, right? And again, I know we went over that yesterday, but in case anybody missed it or if you didn't quite get it, I'll go over it again. When you have a head and shoulders pattern, the first thing I want to do is try to line up my entry with the price of the left shoulder. Why? Because that's resistance. Not up here, here. If you're wondering why, it's because this, the head of the pattern, is considered a fake out. It's a false break. So that is not the most significant resistance point. This left shoulder price is. So what do you think our trader was able to do? He was able, and he actually finessed it. He definitely did, because for me personally, I mean, either way, it would have been a positive trade, but my entry would have probably been around here. I'm not even joking. You guys saw it. His entry was like right there. No cap, right? So for me, he did the same thing. We identified, I didn't place it, but the analysis was pretty much identical. You can see that the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, we were able to base our entry off of the idea that, well, overall this market is bearish. We can see that it's in a ranging market, and if we were to be a little bit more funky with our zone, we could even say that it did reach the highs there, and that is considered our sell zone. And since that's considered our sell zone, we should look for other forms of confluence, right? We can't just say, well, at that level of resistance, I'm going to sell. No, it can't just be that. We also have to make sure that we're identifying the true sense of the market movement and the behavior. So what's something that we can identify? That head and shoulders pattern, right? So since we were able to identify the right shoulder, we were able to place our entries to the downside. If you missed that trade, that's okay, because we're able to now identify one, I didn't mean Christmas mode, one, we're able to now confirm that this market is in fact bearish. It's going to continue to sell. So if I can see that that market is going to continue to sell, where am I going to want to sell from again? That's my next step, right? That's my next question. I don't want to just say, well, the market's selling, sell now. No, definitely not. Where's the best, the highest probability for us to enter sells at? Well, I'll show you. Look left to get right. We know this is a level of structure. So since this is a level of structure, we can identify this as what? Or rather, this was a level of support. We can now identify this as a level of resistance. So newfound resistance. So if this is newfound resistance, this is obviously going to be considered a breakout. Breakouts. And then we have this being considered a sell kill zone, because it is a retest. It's a break and a retest. A very simple concept in the market that a lot of people just disregard, because I think everybody wants these, systems and methods that require so much, tools and indicators. No need for it. We know where the market broke out of, right? Price, action. I know I went over this with you guys before, but we know that we identify the most relevant level of price, so this being the support, and the actions that proceed within it to make it relevant. So that way we know at that price point, there should be some type of idea coming from us to potentially enter the market or at least identify the next action. We know it was respected here. It eventually broke out from that area. The reason why this is considered an action is because you're never just going to get a weak break of structure. You're never just going to get a weak break of anything. Not a weak break of a trend line, a structure point, or any other, strategy that you have. If it doesn't, if you ever see a breakout, it's pretty significant, right? So me seeing this breakout is definitely telling me this price is extremely important. So what can I do to further identify more probabilities to make this trade work in my favor? If you guys don't use this tool, you guys definitely should. I'm going to now use my Fibonacci retracement tool because now we can actually add more. The market has made some moves. It's confirmed our beliefs and our ideas, right? We thought it was a sell. Now we know it's a sell. So what we can do to add more probabilities is go from the swing high here, from the start of the impulse to the end of it, and identify our entries. Now here's a trick. If I'm going to look at a fib ratio, because I know the question that everybody always asks and is always worried about is, what is the best fib ratio to use? There absolutely is no best ratio to use, right? You're always going to identify the ratio that makes more sense. So right now we can see that we identified our level of resistance, what used to be support, and now we have drawn out our Fibonacci retracement ratio, or tool rather, and we don't know which ratio to base our entry off of. A lot of people are like, well, it's respecting 38.2. It's respecting it now, but there's nothing else there. What I can see is the fact that if this market is going to go anywhere, it's going to respect either the 50 or the 61.8. Because this is a pretty big zone. Not a pretty big zone, but we extend it to the 50. We can see that this resistance, it has some space, right? It has a little bit of room that this market could play around in before we can enter the market accurately. But what I like to do is I like to match my fibs, either one, doesn't matter, 50 or 61.8, with the structure. Meaning that if, let's say this reaches here, and I'm just using this as an example. I'm not saying it's going to be the 61.8. I'm just using this as a perfect world example. Let's say it comes up to the 61.8. It's also in this structure. So we're already looking for entries at this resistance point. Now we're adding confluence, which is the 61.8, or it could be the 50. But right now, again, perfect world example. And now let's say it's at the 61.8. Now we're stacking the probabilities together, because what's going to end up happening is you have two resistance points in one, right? You have the regular price, and you have that 61.8. You're adding probabilities and layers to your potential entry. So for me personally, I'm not saying the 61.8 is the greatest. You have to always use it. No, you use them all. But me personally, I do think that would be, in this sense, the ratio that would be used, because it's such a strong impulsive move. It's going to need a pretty steep correction. It's not just going to take a weak correction and go on from there. It's definitely going to need something significant. And this is also where I believe price is more significant, because you can see the close of candles more relevant there than you do the idea of wicks reaching these lows. So if I'm looking at anything, and this is going to be a potential auto trade, right? So I'm going to be looking at this as an entry that I could give to our legacy students or auto traders, so that way obviously they catch that too. But you guys can catch this as well. So this is going to be my sell kill zone. I actually do it like this. So that way you guys know, and you guys can copy this. I'll actually put this in the our Discord as well to make sure that you guys get this. I'll put the chart up, but I'll go sell kill zone, and I'll just put break and retest. So we have a break and a retest type trade, nothing complicated. It's a very simple idea, but again, I'm going to base my trade off of the clues that the market is leaving behind. And right now, we are getting a lot of nice clues. We can see how this market wants to react, or it already reacted, but we can see that it wants to continue to be bearish. But where is it going to start to sell from? So that way we can identify, some potential profits. Probably right here. So hopefully this makes sense. My trade will end up looking something like this. No, please do not put a limit order, in case anybody's like thinking that. That's like the worst thing to do. Only because I really don't place limit orders personally. I don't think that you could really guess, not guess, but you can't really just, guru that shit. You know what I mean? You can't fortune tell the market and be like, it's every move. So it's going to sell from right there. No, this is just an idea, right? We're stacking the probabilities. We're using the clues that the market is leaving behind, but we can't just go ahead and say for sure this is it, by no means. So please don't put a limit order. I'd probably go with something like this. My stop loss, for me, usually I only put a stop loss. I like to use a stop loss that's no greater than 50 pips. And then if that is the case, let's say we enter there, our stop loss being 50 pips. Our first take profit would obviously be these lows, because that can end up being used as a form of support. I mean, it already kind of gave us some support. You can see this is where the correction is starting. So this can be take profits 1. So I'll write this down as well. Take profits 1. And then if that's broken, then obviously you don't even need to worry about take profits 2, because that is all the way down there. So yeah, you can enter this market, hold on to dear life. Beautiful setup on GU. Yeah, it looks really good. I'm happy our trader was able to really get us into this entry yesterday, because he's in a different time zone. So while we're sleeping, he's up, and I would have completely missed this. And if I would have woke up and missed this, I would have just been mad. But really happy he was able to get us into this trade. Seriously. But yeah, I appreciate you. What's good? What's good, Adams? What's good? But yeah, any markets you guys want to take a look at, feel free to let me know. Is anyone confused? Do you guys have any questions? Again, I really want to make sure that we're building a community based off of actual education, actual trading, really making sure that you guys are learning, understanding exactly what's needed to be profitable. That's really important. I really want to make sure that you guys are getting it. But let me go ahead and take a look at GU, or GJ rather. I'm sorry. Oh, that's not okay. I was going to say, well, it's probably at our zone, but it's not yet. So nothing to really see here. It just continue to sell. I wouldn't look to sell this, and there's really no clear setup. I mean, the only thing I really would think is, I mean, even where it's at now, there could be a potential idea, but even that's a little I really wouldn't mess with that. Let's go ahead and take a look at Euro USD. Same concept. I mean, I mean, it's the same thing as GU for the most part. Give me 1 second. Okay, my bad. I had to drink this Red Bull real quick. But same concept with EU, I would believe. This does seem as if it might have a steeper correction, but you can even see here, this is why it's important that we understand these patterns, right? Look at this. How important or how common is that pattern? That's so important that you guys get this, because if you're ever trying to really truly understand what the market is giving you, right? You're like, okay, well, I don't understand. We're not as structured. I mean, we were as structured, but let's say in a perfect world you were not, and you're just like, I don't get it. What's going to happen? You're at the daily, you're confused, you don't see what's happening, you don't understand, but you see this pattern, and you're like, well, you know what? I know this is a head and shoulders pattern. So what usually happens when I see a head and shoulders pattern? Well, if it was bullish, which it kind of wasn't, this is all the holidays and stuff, so more of a consolidated range. But let's say you are, I mean, for the most part, this is bullish. But let's say you're like, okay, well, I know that I'm bullish right now. We're in a buyer's market, but I see this head and shoulders pattern, just like we stated yesterday. What is a head and shoulders pattern? The market is creating higher highs, higher lows, until it's not. It creates that first lower high idea. All that is the right shoulder of your pattern. And again, the nugget that I want you guys to leave with, the one thing I need you guys to understand is, I like to place my entries off of that left shoulder price, because that is the true resistance. Now you're seeing two examples, same concept, but on two different markets. That's important, because now you get to really see how relevant that is, right? You're saying, well, where should I enter off a head and shoulders pattern? A lot of people, and they're not wrong, this is still a very, solid concept. A lot of people will say, well, that neckline is broken. Now we could look for sells. I don't think so, because we could have placed our sells up here. There is a re-entry on this though, and we're going to go over that. We're going to go over where the next potential sells will most likely end up happening. So I don't think that we'll really get a test of this trend line, because this trend line here is like, if I'll actually just show you, right? Because this level of structure, and I'll cheat, I'm just showing you the zone, but we'll cheat a little bit. We'll just use it right there. That level of structure was broken, right? And it created a new low. The lows being down here. I do believe that this would be more along the lines of being respected before we ever meet that trend line. So if I'm looking at EU, the first thing I want to do is I really want to identify my potential sells from here. So we'll do this. Now, when we use our fib, this is probably going to be like the 786. So pretty steep correction. Yeah, just about 786. So I'll leave it there. Obviously, it can't reach that 886, but I would think that we'll meet right in the middle, right there at the 786. So this would be our sell kill zone. I'll make this a little bit bigger. And again, I will be sharing this on our Discord. So if you guys are not a part of the Discord, feel free to jump on. It's really important, because what's going to end up happening is I'll be sending signals there. Obviously, these chart markups, and I'll keep track of everything that we do and updated with the market analysis. So that way you can obviously see, well, hey, we did this in the morning. I see what the market is doing now. So that way you could base a lot of your ideas off of our analysis. So even with this, with EU, I would think that we'll start seeing some potential sells from this point. But until then, like, and if anybody's wondering, like, am I going to buy into this? Absolutely not. That's not something I firmly believe in. Yes, you can, in a sense, counter trend trade, but I would say that's not the best idea, because, like, this is such a strong sell that at any moment it could just do it again, right? Even this little minor, let me get rid of this real quick. Even this minor little consolidation, a lot of people are like, well, okay, that impulse is over, it's tired. It could literally just do this, consolidate for a bit, and continue to push down much lower. And you're trying to buy up until those highs. So I don't recommend that if anybody is in fact considering it. If you do want to do it, I mean, obviously you could do whatever you want. But I would personally allow this market to really develop and show me what it wants to do next. Because if I can see where the market is most likely going to be the higher probable trade setup, I'll be patient and allow it to reach that point. Instead of, okay, well, I think it'll stop, selling from here. I think it'll reach that point, but we know it's already a sell. So we're going against the grain too much. So I would allow this to develop just a little bit more before we do anything. But that would be my idea with Euro USD. So what I'll also do is go ahead and take a look at US30. Everybody quiet today. What's good, y'all? What is good? Nobody want to make money? Nobody want to learn how to trade? Everybody want to stay silent? What's good? All right, so let me take a look at US30. Ooh, I don't like that. I don't like the way this market looks. So I'll probably, I don't like this yet. We still got to let this develop a little bit. I think that this is a little bit too, I would say, risky to really fuck with right now. So all I'm doing right now is just drawing this initial channel. It's not perfect. I'm trying to make it perfect for y'all. There we go. I'm trying to extend this. Every time I do, all right, I'll just leave it like that. So I really don't see a lot going on with US30 as far as like the higher time frame. It just looks really ugly. Doesn't look that great, to be honest. So, I mean, the same thing is going to be with NAS 100 and SPX 500 for the most part. Actually, SPX looks a lot cleaner. A lot cleaner. Oh, you know what? A lot cleaner. So now we have an inverted head and shoulders pattern. This being the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder. We've already broken above the neckline, being the structure point. We've already came back to retest that structure point. Where are my little arrows? There we go. Right? And we have now came back to retest that area. We can actually use a fib from this low to these highs. So can't break below that 50. So we can cheat a little bit because we know where the market has respected mostly. Now, am I telling you guys to buy this? No, absolutely not, because it already kind of has given a bullish move. So what I would do is, let me scale down to 15 and 5 and just see what this looks like as well. And I know I say I don't really scale down to these time frames, but I just want to see if this is looking as if it'll give us a potential correction on the smaller time frames back down, because I would now think that this would be considered our strong buy zone for SPX 500. This is just a much cleaner looking chart than US30. Honestly, it just looks a lot cleaner. You can see the inverted head and shoulders, the actual pattern that's being represented there, is definitely giving us a better look. So this being our strong buy zone. And I'm not buying this just yet, in case anybody's wondering. By no means. What's good, Nikki? I appreciate you for being on. What's good? What's good? So right now, and I'm loving seeing the current candle move down a little bit, because if I do enter this, I want to enter down here. I want to enter actually when it reaches within that zone. And with an indice like this, SPX 500, US30, you don't want to really mess up with that. So I would keep my stop loss relatively tight, and then my take profit right there. Obviously, if it breaks above that take profit, I would just continue to hold. Now, in case anybody's wondering with that as well, my thing is I always use a stop loss. I don't necessarily always use a take profit, because there are times, like, I'm not gonna lie, with GU, I wish my mans didn't use a take profit. I'm glad he did, though, because he really did get out at the perfect time. But I felt like it had a little bit more momentum where we could have capitalized on more profits. But I usually, for myself personally, I'll place a trade and I'll always use stop loss, but I never really put a take profit, because I want to see if I can catch the entire move. I'm patient enough to try to do that. So this will be our first take profits, and then that'll be our second take profits if that is ever met. But obviously right now there is no trade set up on this, in case anybody is just jumping onto the call and you're like, oh, we're placing a trade on this. No entries on this as of yet, but I would think that there should be some potential buys setting up here shortly. And I'll make sure that I add this in the Discord for you guys as well. If you're not in the Discord, again, feel free to use the link that's in the description, so that way you guys could join that. I'll be posting my analysis, any type of signals that I find. Obviously, I'll probably give you like 1 or 2 signals a day. I got to make sure the students get, like everything. But I'll share some of the profits. But right now, I am liking what we're seeing, because I really do want to see SPX 500 come into this zone before we buy. Look at that. We are reaching within that area. So let me go down to a small time frame. Let's see if we possibly take a trade live. Let me get rid of this Fibonacci really quick, so I already know where we're at. So I'm not going to place it, obviously, as of yet. I'll get rid of everything really quick. I'll get rid of the, I'll put something here real quick, because at least on the smaller time frame, we start to see a break above that. That could be a strong indication for potential buys. But obviously, I'll put this as our low, and we'll just find this in our little consolidated range. I want to see if we can get this to reach back down to this point, because if we can, that'll probably be our best entry, right? I do think that, again, looking left to get right being previous structure, the fact that the market is creating some small support here already, I would like to really see some potential buys from there. So we'll actually do this. This will be my actual entry for this. So if you guys use this analysis, if you guys are looking to place a trade on SPX 500, this is actually going to be my personal entry point. So buy area, or buy when reaches this area. Now, this is not something oh, look at that. So what I'll do is if you guys would like, I'll set this up. I like to allow the candle to develop, and it's already 8:09. So I really want to let this candle close, and being on the 1 hour time frame, it's 8:09 a.m. Eastern rather. If this candle can close from here, this is where I'm going to, or close, I would say either bullish rejective, being that we could leave a wick to the downside, right? Showing in a small candlestick, or even better yet, a bullish engulfing. Then I'll start really looking to buy into this. So we'll let this candle develop. If you would like to buy this now, that's completely up to you. But I'm going to allow this to develop a little bit more. But I'm really happy it's back in that zone. So my trade setup will look exactly like this. I'll keep it just like that. Only because, again, with an indice, with a market like this, if you're wrong, you're wrong. You're going to lose a lot of money, and that's the last thing I think anybody wants to do. So for me personally, I would think that this would be the best buy area. I mean, that already has respected our point pretty perfectly so far. But being on the smaller time frame here, that bearish engulfing candle didn't mean I could put that back real quick. But here on the 5-minute, that bearish engulfing, and I don't take the smaller time frames too high into consideration, only because these level of structures can be broken easily. Even the candlesticks, I mean, they are relevant on small time frames, but they're not as strong as what you would suggest or like see on the higher time frames, such as the 1 hour, 4 hour, daily, and so on. So, but it does seem as if this is being respected. It does seem as if we're kind of creating a double bottom here as well. So I do think right now, if we're looking at anything, guys, SPX 500 is probably going to be our first potential, trade taken on these live sessions since we've started doing them yesterday. So I do think that this will probably be our best buy point. So if you guys like this, feel free to take it if you would like. I'm personally going to let this develop a little bit more based off of identifying the behavior of these candlesticks, right? I want to see an actual rejection from this point. There's a difference between placing a trade and feeling like it's going to be profitable or placing a trade and knowing it's going to be profitable, right? Because you always want to make sure, especially with this market, that you're not wrong. So this will probably be our best potential trade setup. I do think that if you guys want to place it, that'll be your best point. So let me see here. Love your markups. Everything is so clear. To read, been absent from Forex for a minute and watching you was like I didn't miss a beat. Not at all. It's the same thing. Nothing's going to be different. I haven't taught in months, and I'm just like, am I going to be able to really do this again? Because I haven't done it in a while. Nothing different. You know what I mean? There's nothing different whatsoever. So, yeah, I appreciate you for being back, and since you're being back and watching us, that's great. I appreciate that. But, yeah, any questions from you guys? If not, we'll actually conclude. We'll probably I'll try to get a binary session with my students here early, because we usually start around 9:30. But I think if we can jump on at 8:30, 9 o'clock and get a better payout, that'll be great. What's good, bro? What's good? What's good, Rich? I don't know how to say your name. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. I'll mess it up. But what's good, bro? I know it's late for you over there, so I appreciate you for tuning in, man. I need another Red Bull. Same here. Glad I subscribed again. I appreciate you for being on, dude, man. Seriously, I appreciate you guys. It's really important that, obviously, for legacy students, that I give you guys as much profits and knowledge as possible. That's why we have the auto trader. That's why I made sure I hired those guys. Because for me, it's really important that you guys are getting the most amount of value, the most amount of profits as well. But I really want to make sure that even if you're not an actual student with us, that you're still getting value. I see a lot going on in this Forex community, all this crazy stuff. So I want to make sure that I can be like, not that light at the end of the tunnel, but really show people that, one, this is not difficult, and two, that anybody could do this. I'm not flashy with anything. Maybe I have 2 nice cars. I guess that's like the flashiness. But besides that, like a everyday person like you, like everybody here. So I really want to be able to show that and help anybody in this community become profitable by just using simple tactics, nothing complicated. Like even right now, look at SPX 500. I identified where I thought it was going to be at perfectly. Even though we haven't placed a trade yet, it's literally respecting the point of interest almost perfectly. So I might go ahead and start looking for entries on this now, to be honest. I do have my account open here. So, and look at that. This is the entry that we lost yesterday. This is another entry that he placed. But if he moved his stop loss and we would have caught that entire move, his take profits were literally right down there. That would have been sick. That would have been crazy. But let me leave SPX 500 open on this, because if it does look good, I want to go ahead and place it. I want to make sure I place it with you guys too. Do I not have it? Where you at? There we go. So I'm going to leave that there. In case we do go ahead and place a trade, I want to make sure that I have it open here, so that way I can place it with you guys. But yeah, Any questions? Let me see what you guys got. Same here. I glad. Did I seriously join at the end? Far out. Nah, you're good. I'll stay on, bro. You're solid. Just call me Rich. That's sweet. No, I got you. You're doing a great job. I'm like Nikki. Hadn't traded in a while. It's like riding a bike. Yeah, no, it definitely is. And there's really nothing difficult about it. Is this trade setup still valid? We haven't placed it. We have not placed this trade. Just like I said, we have not placed this trade yet. This is something I'm looking to place. I might place it. I'm just allowing this market to develop around this area. But what's crazy is, like, since you joined a little bit late, this didn't reach this point yet. It was still up here. And I literally said, well, if I'm going to buy anywhere, and I marked it up on the 15, or actually the 5, and I was like, it should, if anything, we should buy from this point, and it's literally respected the point to the pip. So I'm just waiting for maybe a few more confirmations, maybe on the 5 and the 15. I'll wait for it to show me a little bit more. If I can get a 1 hour close showing me more bullish intent, then I'll go ahead and place my buys on this. But no, we have not placed it yet. But if we do, I'll make sure that I post the signal in the Discord for you guys. And I'll make sure that I share the analysis in the Discord for you all as well. Can you have a look at USD CAD? I'm looking at a sell. What do you think? No sells on that. I can before I even look at that, no sells. Just like we saw before, if we go, let me refresh this. This is the currency strength meter. This market right now is showing us that it's more along the lines of bullish. Oh, the US dollar rather. You can see that the US dollar is gaining tons and tons of, or has tons of strength. The last thing you want to do is sell against that. So if we go to USD CAD, it's probably buying, is it not? USD. Wow, I cannot spell this morning. Yeah, what? You're definitely not selling that. So look at this overall market, right? I know there wasn't really that much volatility. Let's actually go to the daily. Overall market, that's bullish. And we scale down to a smaller time frame. If you didn't see it, inverted head and shoulders pattern. These patterns are important, people. Y'all think I'm fucking with you. Look, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. I know it looks weird, but it is in fact a inverted head and shoulders pattern. And not even that, it created a double bottom, 2 points, right? And as it created that double bottom, it broke above the most significant points of it. Why is that? And I'll explain what I mean by that. So when you have a double bottom, the most important part, so what a lot of people fuck up is, oh, it's a double bottom, we gotta buy from right here. No, because what ends up happening is that structure is still broken. But what you can do is, being a smart individual, is allowing it to break that middle point, or you can consider a B point, right? Because once it breaks above that structure, you're now confirming the idea that buyers are now in control, because you're breaking bearish structure. Now you're creating bullish structure. So the market should come back down to that middle point. When it does, you now have an entry for a buy. If we go to USD CAD, what did it do? Exactly that, right? It broke above that middle point, your B point, if you will, after creating that double bottom. And as you see here, that's also the right shoulder of this inverted head and shoulders pattern. And what do we get? If I go, I'm probably, yeah, let me do it on the 2 hour. Yeah, I do it like this. See, I'm not a big fan of even that, but let me see if there's an inner trend line. So you can have multiple trend lines in one sequence. You would have your main trend line, your inner, your outer, your accelerated. There's a bunch of different type of trend lines, but this right here will probably be the better idea. So you can see here, even the neckline, or even just ideally the trend line here is broken. So you can even see here, breakout. Let me do this. Where is it? Here we go. So since we're able to break out of that trend line, so you gotta start adding these confluences together, right? You have to make sure that you're saying, well, is this a buy or a sell? Well, you can clearly see it's a buy now. Inverted head and shoulders pattern, break of the trend line, i.e. neckline as well, creating now higher lows. I know we're still just on like a small time frame, but it's reacting, right? This is the clues that the market is leaving behind. creating higher lows. We have now created higher highs. If we go look at this high now compared to these highs over here, right? I would think that if you're looking at anything, if you had a sell, it would probably be from this point. You kind of reach that point, but that's probably it as far as a sell is concerned, because it's just going to correct probably down to here before it skyrockets again. And it doesn't necessarily have to reach these lows, right? Or not these lows, but this structure point right here. It doesn't even have to reach that point. So if you're looking for sells, I mean, this will probably be your best bet, maybe from that point where it's currently at in market price to maybe there and then a buy. But I think overall what you're looking at is definitely long-term buys on this. And since you didn't see it, DXY, right? DXY right now, even though it is respecting that resistance point, it still has that bullish move. You cannot ignore that. Obviously, after every strong impulsive move, there's going to be a correction. We can't get rid of that. But you always want to make sure that you're following the true essence of the market, which is bullish on the dollar. So USD CAD definitely remains bullish. Yeah, true. I don't do much on the fundamental side. Neither do I. I need to do more. It's about to touch daily resistance, so I'm waiting for either a buy or sell depending on what happens. Is it just me or is the audio cutting off? If it is, I do apologize. Hopefully not. Let me go ahead and listen in. It doesn't sound like it is, but if it is, I'm sorry. I had to pick up put the volume up on my phone. I do look at the chat on my phone, so I apologize on that. But yeah, I do think that the majority of what we're looking at with USD CAD and the majority of all US cross pairs are buys. Like, you don't want to go against that. It's really important that once you start to see a market move in a direction, you want to make sure that you continue in that direction. You definitely don't want to go against it. If you do, it has to be at very specific points. Like right now, if you are looking at this resistance point, I can hear you fine. Okay, perfect. I do think that if you are looking to place a sell, or if you're looking to place these trades, you got to identify the most relevant areas to do so. This might be a relevant area in the sense of the structure point, but I wouldn't say go ahead and sell this for until next week and it's going to go all the way down there. I do think that if it is, it'll sell to here and then start to buy. I do think overall we'll start seeing a lot of buys on USD CAD. It's all good now. I think it was my phone on a laptop and can hear you good. Perfect. As long as you guys can hear me, as long as you guys are learning, that's all that matters. But yeah, any other questions, any other markets you guys want to take a look at, feel free to let me know. I'll stay on for a little bit longer. I just want to make sure I jump onto a binary. So I actually got to make sure my deposit went into my binary account. I withdrew everything during the holidays because I kind of went stupid during for the holidays, man. Between my son and getting friends stuff and partying all the time, I kind of went. I partied way too hard this New Year's. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know how I ended up in the places I did, met the people I met, but yeah, it was crazy. I only scalp. I don't hold longer than an hour, bro. Swing trading ain't for me yet. That's probably where your problem is, though. Like, so are you profitable scalping? If not, then I would say not to, because I used to scalp as well. But imagine placing 100 trades to make $100, and I place one trade to make 1,000. Right? It's a completely different ball game, and you also don't have to put in as much effort, as much time. For that, you could trade binary if you scalp. To be really honest. Work hard, play hard. You already know. What's good, Titan Trading? I appreciate you. Yeah, no, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, scalping, I do know a lot of scalpers. I think one of the best scalpers I've seen is Mamba FX. I'm not too sure if anybody's aware of him, but Mamba FX. I don't know him personally. I don't get paid for promoting other people, but I'm all about sharing the love and wealth and everything. Mamba FX, he's actually really, really good. If I'm correct, he scalps for the most part. Obviously, he's successful with it. So I do think that scalping is good if you understand it. But at the same time, it's like, if you're just learning how to trade, first off, this is what before you can scalp, you have to understand how to actually trade. You have to know the actual market, because what people end up doing is, like, right now, pretty sure everybody's like, oh, USD CAD, it's a strong buy still, not knowing that they're at a level of structure that could really cause us to sell more, right? You have to know the true market status. You can't just start scalping, start buying at a level of strong resistance like right now, right? That alone could deter a lot of people from trading. So if you understand, okay, well, I'm in a bullish market, but I also understand, just like you said before, which is a beautiful thing that you said before, my man. It's like you said that we're at a daily level of resistance. Well, if you know that, that's beautiful. If you know that you're at a daily level of resistance, you don't have to scalp on the way down. You could just place one trade, maybe with a bigger, lot size, and hold it, because you know you're at a daily resistance, and you know it's probably going to hit push down much lower than a scalp, which is maybe 5 to 10 pips. Maybe you can catch 30, maybe you catch 50, maybe you catch 100, and you don't have to, just in and out, in and out. So that's my advice. And I'm not trying to, deter you from scalping or anything. If you know how to scalp, if you're making money, go for it. If it makes money, it makes sense. But I also want to give you the advice that know how to actually, and I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way, but know how to actually trade. Know how to actually see and mark up a chart and really tell what the market is doing, because it'll make your scalping a lot easier and more profitable. Only been trading for a few months now. I did get, you said I see what you said as well, Titan. Only been trading for a few months now. I did get funded with FTP in December because I have a mate who is quite good and sends me his trades. I just apply 50 points and stop once I'm halfway. Okay, got you. Take profit. I'm currently in the stage of learning to trade on my own with his help online, such as you. Beautiful. I appreciate that. Hopefully I can give you enough knowledge where you can get this, where you can actually go ahead and get funded, be able to place as many trades you want, make as much money as you want, and become profitable. That goes for everybody. I really want that for everybody, especially with what I'm going to start doing is I don't think I have the thing here, my template for it. And I might go ahead and start looking for those buys on SPX 500 as well, because that looks really, really good, to be honest. But what I am going to start doing is I'm going to start teaching my students how to trade our binary strategy. I don't have it here for some reason, but on the next session on tomorrow, I'll go ahead and have that template up, so that way you guys can see what our strategy kind of looks like as well. But that's going to be something that I really want to teach my students as well, so that way they can apply that to making money, because I think they'll be able to grasp that strategy for binary much quicker than they would, implementing a lot of what they know for Forex, so that way they can make profits rather quickly, so hopefully I might start doing binary sessions with you guys on Fridays. You never know. I got some things up my sleeve for you guys as well. But yeah, there's a lot of things in work. So if you're learning how to trade now and you're making money doing that, yeah. Are you talking about pocket options? Yes, I'm talking about, it's called binary options, but the broker we do use is in fact pocket options, yes. So hopefully that helps. And I appreciate the questions from everybody as well. I do. I really do. I really, really do. And real quick, guys, if you can do me a quick favor, and this is just really important, because again, I really want to build this community just really based off of transparency, based off of actual trading and education. If you can, not even today, because we'll be getting off here in a bit, but if you're on tomorrow, please share this with somebody. I really, again, I want to grow this, not for myself, but for you guys, because I know that if we attract the right people with the style of trading that we have, we'll be able to grow a community that everybody will be able to learn from. So if you guys can share, like this video, do all that, algorithm stuff for the YouTubes and stuff. But again, I really want to build this community so that way everybody could benefit. You said it's banned in Australia. That's all right. There's other brokers, I'm pretty sure there's other binary brokers. Just make sure that, what I'll do is, if you want, hit me up on Discord. I know you just joined the Discord yesterday. Send a message in the chat, and I'll let me know. You said you're in Australia, right? Okay, yeah, banned in Australia. I'll go ahead and see if there's any brokers that you can use. So that way, if you ever do start trading binary, if you ever want to trade binary with us, and you're already set, you have a broker and be able to start trading and stuff. So I'll do that favor for you. I got you. No worries. But yeah, any other questions, any other markets you guys want to take a look at, feel free to let me know. If not, we'll conclude for today, only because I want to make sure that we jump on a binary session. Yesterday we could not, because the market was pretty much dead. Should have just been closed at that point. But I do want to make sure that I trade binary with my students. London session trader. Oh, real quick. Also a tip, try putting Forex and gold in your title. The ones who get a lot of views always have it in. Yo, I appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely will. Forex. Okay, yeah, I will. I'll try that. I appreciate that nugget too. I really do. London session trader. No, I am not. I am a New York session trader. But right now, what I've done is because, and just full transparency, yo, I'm not ever going to shy away from it. I do have an auto trader for students, and it was going beautifully. We're making at least a minimum of $100 a day. Everything was great, and it was based off an EA that I made. And then the EA went to shit. It just, I don't know. During November, December, it went bad, and it lost us a ton of profits. And then I tried trading to recoup that and was able to, but then month of December, worst month to ever trade, and that went bad as well. So not the best performance for the month of December. So in order for me to make sure that I keep the trust and obviously good service and value to my students in my business, I made sure that I went ahead and hired a London trader, a London session trader. He trades London, I trade New York, and my other homie trades New York as well. Kind of like while I'm doing these sessions, because if there's something I'm missing while I'm educating, he's able to go ahead and place that trade. And he also trades London as well. So for right now, our auto trader is basically being ran 24/7 by 3 professional traders. So I'm not the London trader, but yeah, he definitely is. And everyone in here, smash the like button. It helps push him up. YouTube algorithm goes off of streams likes. Hey, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah, if you guys could do that, that'll be great. Again, I really do want to make sure that I'm building this again off of just transparency, just a lot of knowledge, education, and really making sure that we build a community that everybody could share ideas off of. Because in my Discord, if you guys want to share charts, share trades, share whatever resources with everybody, that is absolutely fine by me. There's no restrictions on that. As long as people are actually learning, I really don't give a fuck. Yeah, I like EAs, but I got to be top tier. The one I had is pretty top tier, but I see where I made the mistake. It's already been corrected, but since I have since I hired these traders, there's no need for us to use it. I feel you on the New York session though. That's what I trade. Yeah, New York session is. I mean, I live in New York City. Yeah, I mean, I'm in the heart of New York, so it makes more sense. But London session is great. Like again, I don't know if he was here, but I would have been really mad if I missed this Gbpjpy USD trade. So this my trader sold Gbpjpy USD from up here. Like I'll just transparency. Like you can even see here. Look at his entry. His entry was right on that candle, and we were able to catch it right there and take profit off that. You know what I mean? So beautiful trade, but we're going to be able to get another one here. So yeah, you guys can even see that if it reaches that point, we're Gucci. Let me see, son. You'll be posting the analysis on Discord, yeah? Yep, absolutely. I'll be posting the analysis on Discord. I don't want to be annoying, but can you have a look at Euro CHF as well? I'm also seeing a potential sell. No. I would not be trading that. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. That is not something I would even trade. By no means. That's not a very clean market. I want cleanliness. I want simplicity. If I could just get break and retest, I'll just do that. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't do this right now. I would definitely go ahead and look at a different market, to be completely honest. Again, not to sound disrespectful, but yeah, this is not something I would really pay attention to. Not enough. And especially with this pair, because if I'm correct, like, yeah, you don't get a lot out of this. So I'd be very, very careful with this. I do run a Telegram channel, but wouldn't mind joining the Discord. I'd love to chat about trading. Yeah, dude, that's fine. I just would say that just respect the fact that it's our Discord. Don't promote your channel, but you can share whatever knowledge, information. You can do whatever you want, man. That's perfectly fine with me. As long as it's about trading and knowledge, I'm cool with it, big homie. But yeah, for my mans, I would not trade Euro CHF at all, by no means. Very choppy, yes, but the patterns show it would be going down. It seems to be repeating itself. I don't see the patterns. If you're talking about the only patterns I like are like breakout patterns, head and shoulder patterns, like things like that. If you're talking about like the choppy pattern, yeah, I wouldn't. I would focus on something much better, dude. And that's again not sound disrespectful, just so that way you don't waste your time trying to figure this out when you could take 5 minutes and figure something out really fast. You know what I mean? So I'd be very careful with that. I would hate if somebody did that to me. Yeah, I appreciate that. So yeah, if you want, bro, join the Discord, share charts, share ideas. Again, I really want to make sure that we are learning as much as possible. Let me go to SPX 500. So I might go ahead and place a buy on this pretty soon. So if I do, I'll share that in the Discord as well. But yeah, we'll conclude for today. I do want to make sure that I trade binary options with my students this morning, so that way we can obviously make our profits in 60 seconds. I like trading 60-second pocket options. No, I appreciate your insight. Yep, absolutely, never a problem, man. But yeah, we'll conclude for today. We'll catch back on first thing tomorrow morning. If any of you guys have any questions at any point, feel free to let me know. You can ask in the Discord. If you have me on Facebook or Instagram, you're more than welcome to hit me up on there as well. I'm more than happy to answer any and all questions and assist to the best of my ability. So with that being said, if you guys can, again, like, comment, do all that algorithm jazz, it'll really help me, and I promise you it'll help you guys even more, because the more that this grows, the more value that I'm going to be putting out for you guys, such as contests, signals for you guys for free, like in the Discord. You know, I'm even trying to give a contest where somebody wins $1,000, or, you know, funded account, stuff like that. Like, I really want to do stuff like that. So the more that we grow, the more impact that I could have in people's lives in a positive manner, the more beneficial, the more value is going to be for you guys. So I really do appreciate you all. Again, if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to let me know at any point. For my legacy students, if you guys are on right now, get ready. We'll be trading binary here in a few minutes. I would say within the top of the hour, so that way we can go ahead and take advantage of the higher payouts. And yeah, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Again, for you guys who are on the YouTube, not students, I highly appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys for joining our sessions. You guys can be learning and joining with anybody, but you're here with me. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate you. And I'll see you guys first thing in the morning. Thanks, guys.